Hey there, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited today to catch up with you all because it's been a hot minute. It's been a really long time. So much has happened in my life in the last year and a half, and I feel like I need to tell you everything and update you on everything. So, today I'm just filming a really chatty, relaxed video, and grab a coffee, grab a wine, and let's get started. So I had a little boy, his name is Laurence, and it was really good. I feel like pregnancy was really good to me. I had it very easy. I didn't have too much troubles. I just had, I remember in the first trimester, I was feeling really fatigued. So I was getting tired really easily. I had a little bit of aversion to red meat, but other than that, I never got morning sickness or nausea. So I was really, really lucky because I've heard it can get really bad. I also, the actual pregnancy itself was fine. I also got some hip pain in third trimester. I didn't really find it very difficult until the last couple of weeks, like the last 2 weeks that he was due. So all things considered went really well. And then delivery was really smooth as well. And I got very lucky. I recovered quite quickly and was kind of feeling quite good even a month out from having him. So I was just really lucky in that sense. In terms of how Laurence was as a newborn baby, in the time when I was in it, it felt like we were in the trenches, as you do with a newborn, being strictly on schedule, feeding every 2 hours and constantly waking up. But when I look back at how he was with more information that I have now about how babies are, he really wasn't a tough newborn. So I wouldn't say that he was a hard baby. I think he's got a pretty good temperament. He kind of, he fed when he was hungry, and then throughout the night, between like midnight and 5 a.m, he would wake up a couple of times for feeding, and then once he fed, he would pretty quickly go back to sleep. He likes his sleep, so I feel like, again, I got really lucky in that sense as well. We did have a bit of a scare when he was 10 weeks old and he needed surgery, and that was probably the most stressful time of my life, just because he was so little and there was so much unknown, but the surgery went well and he's been recovering really well. He actually just turned 1 last week, so that was a huge milestone. We did a party for him. I'll show you some shots of that as well. I made him a smash cake, which he didn't really smash, but it was just a really nice way to celebrate. And I know people say that when you do the first birthday, it's more for the parents, which is kind of true because babies don't really understand what's happening yet at that age. But it was nice. He's a pretty social baby and he doesn't mind being center of attention. So I feel like he had a really good time celebrating with family, and yeah, it was just nice to kind of reflect back on how far me and Richard have come with raising him. I guess the most appropriate saying to describe it is the days are long, but the years are short. So it seemed like it took a while to get through that year, but then also it went by really fast, if that makes sense. I do remember also before giving birth to him, that week that he was due, I was thinking to myself, I don't feel strong enough to get through this. Like, I was a little bit nervous about delivery and what it's going to be like recovering while looking after a newborn baby. And it's crazy to think of all the things that have happened last year and how you just find a way to push through when you become a parent, and you end up being a lot stronger than you probably thought you were. So that was probably the one thing that I took from my experience of becoming a mum for the first time. But aside from having Laurence, there was also a range of other things that happened. So I returned to work. I returned last year in August, and I started off with 2 days a week. I was really lucky because Richard was able to take primary carer leave for 3 months. So I returned while he was on leave, and it was nice to know that Richard was at home with Laurence, and so I eased back in with 2 days first, and then in September I went straight back to full-time, 5 days a week. And it was actually also around that time where we bought our first house. So you'll notice that the backdrop is different because we've moved into our new home now, so which is super exciting. It's been really nice to have more space and to be in a suburb that's a bit more quieter, and yeah, just having a bit more space has been game-changing. I think I underestimated how much stuff a baby comes with. I mean, in our previous place, we were in a two-bedroom unit, and we were there for like more than 10 years. It was amazing for just me, Richard, and our dog Leo. But as soon as Laurence came, we got to a point where we were having all his stuff on the dining table. In the second room, we were using that as a shared space to use it as our home office, but also as Laurence's sleeping area, and it just started to get really cramped. So it's been really nice to move into this new space and have a bit more room. It's also been really nice to have stability, even for For Laurence especially, we started him in childcare in our previous area, and then we had to move him to this new childcare in this current area. And yeah, thank God he adjusted well, and it's been a really good transition. And in terms of returning to work, that was a good transition in my experience. I think because I was lucky enough to have Richard at home with Laurence, but just in general, I always knew, or I always felt that I would be someone that would want to return earlier rather than later. I know a lot of parents here take 12 months plus. I know some people that take 2 years as well, but I've always been very career driven, and I just feel like I was someone that would want to go back earlier rather than later, and that didn't change even after Laurence came. It was amazing. Like the first 6 months I spent with him, well, I took 8 months off, so yeah, 8 months off. And it was so good spending time with him every day. We did a lot. We went to like shopping centres. I took him out to the city, and yeah, we were just exploring, and it was amazing. But I did also miss using parts of my brain that I hadn't used in a long time. And also right before I went on parental leave, I actually got a promotion into my current role, which was amazing. And I was just really excited to get into the role and start, growing into the role and developing new skills. And I think returning was also good because my manager is amazing. So I've got a really, really great manager who's really understanding, really flexible, and she gives me a lot of work to challenge and stretch my skills, which I find really enjoyable. So it's been pretty good. I think I thought going from 2 days to 5 days straight to full time would be tougher, but I think we've managed pretty well. Obviously, there were times that were a little bit hard, like if Laurence was sick from daycare, that's quite challenging because one of us has to be home to look after him. But I think on the whole, it wasn't as difficult as what I thought it was going to be. And that's, I reckon, just the factors of just me being really blessed to have a good support system. So, having Richard and also having my manager who's extremely understanding really helps and just takes off that stress. I also, in terms of my work, I have a lot of people that I call friends, and they're not just colleagues to me, so I really miss that social aspect and going back and seeing people and hanging out with people at work as well. So it was just really nice to, I guess, have that part of myself back as well. Before becoming a mum, I never just wanted my identity to just be a mum. I wanted to be a mum, but also have the other parts of my life. In terms of my YouTube channel, I feel like the longer time goes, the more I get this nagging feeling that I need to keep up with it and I need to keep posting. I know it can be really difficult after having a baby and working full time, and I know there's other people that do it, and I'm amazed by how they fit it all in, but I personally find it a little bit hard to balance everything and to be posting consistently while I have everything else going on in my life. But I think the longer I leave it, the more I don't do something about it, the louder that feeling gets inside me that I need to do something about it. So it's not that if I don't post for a while that I just forget about it. It's more the opposite, that if I don't post for a while, the more I think about it. So it's clearly something that I want to continue. And as I've expressed in previous videos, I really like that this is a space where I can exercise total creative freedom, where I don't need to ask anyone for approval to try anything or to film a video in a different way or go off script a bit. It's really nice just to have this space to be as creative as I can be. I'm hoping that now that Laurence is one, that, we've got a house and I'm back to work now, we're in a bit of a routine. I'm hoping that I'll be able to make more time to post a bit more content, even if YouTube is not as frequent, even if it's just the journal entries on my website. I know there's a couple of people that are still following along and still reading the things that I write and watching the videos I post. So thank you for sticking by and being really patient with me as I navigate this new chapter in my life. It's funny, now that I've had Laurence, the other thing I get asked a lot from a lot of people around me is whether I'm thinking about having a second and when am I going to give him a sibling. I feel like this question has been on my mind a lot, and I think before I had Laurence, I always saw myself having at least 2 kids. I know it's still early days because Laurence is still really young, but at the moment I'm not really thinking about that. I think I have made so many changes in my life in the last 2 years. Basically within 2 years we got married, we bought a car, we bought a house. Even before I got married actually, I moved to this job, so it was a new transition to a new job. and then having Laurence, and it's just been a lot of changes, big life changes in the last 2 years. And I think I'm just looking forward to stability in my life and just kind of cruising for a little bit. I really want to focus on my career and my health. Before I had Laurence, I was someone that worked out 3 times a week and super active, and obviously now that Laurence is here, it's been a bit hard fitting that into my schedule. And so I think last year I did a total of 3 workouts, 3 proper workouts. So this year I really want to prioritize exercising and eating healthy again, but also push myself when it comes to achieving things in my career. I think that's what I want to focus on for a while, and I really want to enjoy this new place that we've bought and just enjoy our family as it is. I think that, we're also not in a position where we're privileged enough to have people that will take Laurence and look after him the whole day while we work, so the only kind of care that we get and help with him is paid care, childcare, which makes things a little bit more tricky as well. I mean, at this stage, I don't know how people do it with more than one. People that have twins or people that have 2 under 2. I mean, like, hats off to those people. That's amazing. It will be really hard for us, I know it. And Rich and I have had a lot of conversations about this as well. But for now, we're happy, and I just want to see where things take us. And as I said, I want some stability for a while. I really enjoy, just having Laurence and being able to focus all my attention on him and not having to worry about another child at this stage. And it's just really nice to be able to focus my attention just on him and to be more nurturing and more patient. It already is a lot of work with one kid, trust me. And he's got a good temperament as well. He's not a difficult baby, but he's still a baby. He'll cry and chuck tantrums here and there, and he'll have days where he gets sick and then he gets us sick, and it's a lot to navigate. And I think, being a parent is not easy, but it's super rewarding. I think it's one of the best decisions that I've ever made, even though I used to not be sure whether I wanted kids. And I'm so glad I had Laurence, because he's just brought a lot of joy into our lives and he makes us laugh every day. It's just been amazing. And Leo's adjusted really well as well. He's been very patient and understanding. But even just juggling Laurence and Leo now, we find we have to, really work hard to make sure Leo's needs also get met and make sure he gets his walks in. We take him to the park and we don't leave him all the time. It's hard even with the dogs. I can't imagine with 2 kids. But I just thought I'd talk about that because I get that question a lot. And sometimes it does feel like a little bit of societal pressure where people say, oh, why wouldn't you give him a sibling? Or he's going to be alone. And it's funny how people just automatically jump to that conclusion and assume that he's going to feel very alone if he's an only child. But we'll see, never say never. But for now, I think things are really good. It's been really nice to catch up with you all. I hope you're all doing really well, and I hope to be back on here soon with a new video. But I really thought I was really looking forward to just jumping on and doing a bit of a life update because it's been so long since we last spoke. And I can't wait to see you all in my next video. I will love you and leave you here. Bye.